Coming up, Kentucky lawmakers hear from universities about a proposed NIL bill, while university leaders say the legislation should pass. And an abandoned railroad tunnel in Whitesburg is open now to a different kind of track.
And temperatures are warming up, and plenty of sunshine this week is one reason why. I'll have the latest on how long it looks to stick around coming up as First at 4 continues.
Mountain News First at 4 continues.
Today, Kentucky lawmakers heard from athletic leaders from 3 Kentucky universities about a name, image, and likeness bill. Right now, the NCAA's NIL rules are allowed in Kentucky under an executive order. Proposed legislation will go before the General Assembly in February. In today's meeting, leaders from UK, Louisville, and EKU all talked with lawmakers about the bill. Victor Puente reports.
Even those student athletes in Kentucky are able to make money right now from their name, image, and likeness. Those rules aren't a part of Kentucky law.
And as you know, we are operating currently under an executive order under the permission of that order, and we want to thank the governor for doing that and giving us the ability back in the summer to move ahead with some semblance of NIL.
Today, state lawmakers with the Education Committee heard from leaders at UK, U of L, and EKU. They went over the proposed legislation that would permanently govern how those athletes can make money. It's made up of 3 main pieces.
It gives to student athletes the ability to earn compensation on their name, image, and likeness. Second, it gives the Commonwealth's post-secondary institutions the ability to place reasonable restrictions on that ability. And then third, it gives the Commonwealth's institutions the immunity that we need to navigate this landscape.
UK's Executive Associate Athletics Director said their athletes have already entered into almost 500 transactions since the executive order went into effect this summer. UK's General Counsel said it was important that any legislation come with appropriate restrictions.
To make sure that the student athlete is not entering into what the NCAA would regard as a pay-for-play situation that is a disaster for both the student athlete and for the institution.
That was Victor Puente reporting. Those university officials said it would be helpful if there was federal legislation covering NIL, so there was a consistent standard across the country. Preparation for an annual Eastern Kentucky holiday tradition is underway. Registration for the 2nd annual Lights Around London Christmas Light Tour kicking off this week. The fundraising event allows businesses and homeowners in the area to showcase their decorating skills while raising funds for Shop with a Cop, which is what London Tourism Executive Director Chris Robinson says this event is all about.
Shop with a Cop has been a great program in our community for decades, and they were definitely in need last year with so much need and with inability to have creative fundraisers. So this was a way to partner with them to help satisfy a need.
Robinson says registration can be done either in person or through the use of the Venmo app. After years of work, paving of the more than 100-year-old L&N Railroad Tunnel in Letcher County is complete. WYMT's Chas Jenkins is at the tunnel now with more on how the project got to where it is today.
I'm here at the mouth of the old L&N Railroad Tunnel, connected to the Tanglewood Trail, where, as you can see behind me, paving is finally finished. Spearheaded by Apple Shop, the paving project was part of a $25,000 Community Challenge grant given by AARP. They partnered with the City of Whitesburg, County Tourism, and the Convention Commission to bring their vision to life. While most of the heavy lifting is done, Tourism Director Clay Christian says there are still some things to take care of in the near future.
Mainly, hopefully in the future, a downhill bike trail from top of Pine Mountain that will connect to one side all the way to the other side of Whitesburg. So that is the future project down the road that we're really excited about.
Officials with Apple Shop say there will be a ribbon-cutting ceremony for the tunnel in December. In Letcher County, Chas Jenkins, WYMT Mountain News.
Christian says the community response has been great, with people already walking through the tunnel.
And if you are out taking a walk through the tunnel or just taking a walk this afternoon and evening, bundle up. It's a chilly one out there, and we do have some cloud cover to thank as we head into this evening. Time-lapse camera from the University of Virginia at Wise. We have just enough breaks in those clouds right now as that sun begins to set that actually gives those clouds a pretty cool look out there, even if they are building in for this evening. Mountain Parkway at Slade, we are overcast, but important to note, dry. That is something we've been watching over the last little bit. Now, Irvin sits at 43. Most of us in those low to middle 40s right now, with a couple of upper 40s and even a low 50 down there into East Tennessee. Now, the radar showing that a lot of us should be looking at some rainfall right about now. However, things are pretty dry from the ground up, so a lot of this isn't reaching the ground. It may be falling from the cloud, but evaporating before it hits the ground. You noticed that Mountain Parkway shot, things were dry, so it's giving us an indication that a lot of this isn't reaching the ground. However, I can't rule out some sprinkles as we go through tonight. We even had a few snow showers up toward the Cincinnati region right now. For us, partly cloudy skies turning mostly clear later on tonight. We're chilly, but not quite as chilly with those lows in the upper 30s. Now, we do have plenty of warm weather on the way for the next couple of days, and I'll detail that coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
All right, Evan, thank you. American journalist Danny Fenster has been released from jail in Myanmar. The 37-year-old had been in prison since May 24th when he was detained while trying to leave the country to visit family in the U.S. Then on Friday, a Burmese court found him guilty of circulating comments that caused fear or spread fake news and sentenced him to 11 years in prison. His release comes after former New Mexico Governor Bill Richardson engaged in face-to-face negotiations with Myanmar's commander-in-chief while on a humanitarian trip there. His former employer says he is already on an airplane heading to the United States. Sandy Hook family suing InfoWars founder Alex Jones won a defamation case filed against them Monday. Connecticut Superior Court Judge Barbara Bellis cited Alex Jones's willful noncompliance with the discovery process as her reason for the decision. The judge ruled that since Jones had not turned over financial data requested by Sandy Hook family plaintiffs, and he loses his case by default. A status conference is scheduled for Wednesday as the case is set to proceed on a hearing on damages owed to the Sandy Hook families. President Biden has signed a new executive order supporting Native American communities. He held the first Tribal Nations Summit since 2016 at the White House Monday. The president outlined the new initiative, which involves 17 federal departments and agencies protecting tribal treaty rights. Some of the key actions include increasing tribal participation in the management of federal lands, incorporating tribal ecological knowledge in the fight against climate change, and addressing violence against Native Americans. The president is preparing to take on one of his biggest foreign policy challenges when he holds a high-stakes virtual summit with China's president today. It will be the first face-to-face meeting between the two during the Biden presidency. The two leaders have spoken twice by phone this year, most recently a 90-minute conversation on September 9th. It comes amid strained relations between the two countries, especially over Taiwan. Ahead of the meeting, the top diplomats from both sides exchanged stern warnings over the issue. The Department of Homeland Security is changing how it hires cybersecurity specialists. The agency has launched a new talent management system where potential candidates can apply. A senior official says DHS wants to hire the first 150 cybersecurity service employees in 2022. Throughout the agency, there are 1,500 cybersecurity vacancies. DHS has had issues recruiting and retaining talent in this field for the past decade. The new system is meant to modernize hiring and compensation. President Biden is celebrating a big win at the White House this afternoon as he just signed a massive bipartisan infrastructure bill. The president says he's also optimistic Congress will pass his social spending plan, but it comes amid declining approval ratings. CBS's Skylar Henry has more from the White House.
President Biden will sign his infrastructure bill into law this afternoon.
Everyone knows we're long overdue to make major investments in infrastructure.
The $1.2 trillion measure funds the repair of the nation's aging ports, roadways, and public transit, and it invests in clean drinking water and expanded broadband access. Former Democratic New Orleans Mayor Mitch Landrieu has been tapped to oversee implementation of the legislation. As the president takes a legislative victory lap, his approval ratings, however, have dipped as concerns over rising inflation continue to grow. More than half of respondents to a new ABC News Washington Post survey said they disapprove of the job President Biden is doing.
No one is denying that inflation and any element of raising costs is an issue for the American people. We're proposing solutions. In the short term, we have to continue to get COVID under control. In the medium and long term, we want to pass this agenda.
The president will take his message directly to the American people again this week, traveling to New Hampshire and Michigan to tout both the infrastructure bill and his social spending and climate plan.
This bill would save most families thousands of dollars per year in child care. It includes the most significant investment to tackle the climate crisis in history.
House Democratic leaders say they want to vote on the nearly $2 trillion Build Back Better Act this week, setting up a partisan fight with Republicans who oppose the measure. Skyler Henry, CBS News, the White House.
And again, the president just signed that bill a few minutes ago. Democrats on Capitol Hill are awaiting analysis from the Congressional Budget Office before voting on that Build Back Better bill. The CBO posted a message on its website saying it will score pieces of the legislation this week. Coming up on First at 4, vegan restaurants are serving up more than lettuce and tofu these days. How the cuisine and menus are changing.
And you might need the heavy coat in the morning. Just don't forget it at work on the way back because we've got much warmer temperatures on the way. I'll have those details straight ahead.